Ole Miss took down the Tennessee Volunteers under a legendary performance by Jaemyn Brakefield. I figured this is as good a time as any to bring in Tim Thomas and talk about it.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Steven Willis from the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the only daily podcast that I know about that is completely 100% and unequivocally Ole Miss related. Thank you very much for making us your first listen every single day. Don't forget to find a second listen on the network. Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC, is an excellent choice. Tim Thomas, we're going to bring him in. He's a former Ole Miss basketball player and a close to my heart legend. How you doing, Tim? Ole Miss won the rebounding battle against Tennessee, and I know that's close to your heart.
Yeah, that's been a while. We won the rebounding battle. I was thinking probably back when we played the Long Island Sharks. I hope it hadn't been that long, but it was good to see. So proud of our team. Beard said anything can happen in March. That's what he's looking forward to. There's a lot of guys out there thinking we can go a ways. We'll see. If we played like we did last night and Jaemyn Brakefield has a game like that on a regular basis, we can go for a while.
You know, you mentioned Jaemyn Brakefield. This was a legend game. This is one of those games that gets a name. Like with Gerald Glass, what he did back in the 80s against LSU and Chris Jackson. Jaemyn Brakefield at one point had 15 of 17 points in a row. He scored all 19 of his points in the second half and essentially willed Ole Miss to winning that game against the top 5 opponent. I'm proud for Jaemyn Brakefield because as everybody that's listened to us knows what's going on, they know I'm a Jaemyn Brakefield guy. He's my dude. He's been my dude for multiple years at Ole Miss. And it was just nice because, Tim, how many times leading up, now I'm not talking about right now, I'm talking about previously under Kermit and before then AK, there was always a hyped recruit that was coming in that was met with expectations. And for one reason or another, they didn't really ever meet the expectations that they were supposed to hit. So Ole Miss was getting a transfer from Duke and Jaemyn Brakefield. So everybody assumed that a player from Duke, we need to look at him. He's a really good player. And it took a little bit of time for him to get going. But he figured out a way in his senior year, I'll call it that. He seems like he's been in school for about 30 years at this point. But in his senior year, coming off the bench, and in his senior night, in that last game, I think he finally gave Ole Miss fans what they expected whenever they found out that they were going to be getting a Duke transfer.
Yeah, I have to give him his props. He's come a long way. Guys, I went to see him practice 3 years ago or more when he first came from Duke. Me and Kermit knew each other a little bit back in the day. He played when I played. He was at Mississippi State when I was at Ole Miss. So he let me have a tour of the Tui Center, and we got to watch practice. So I got to see Brakefield, kind of curious, heard this and that from Jackson, Mississippi, and thought that, he was going to be some kind of godchild. But back then he was struggling. He didn't play defense, and he didn't shoot very well. He was loose with the ball, turnovers and all. But that was at the Tui Center. Me and my wife went in to watch him practice. I thought, hey, this guy, maybe, I don't know, is he a dud? Is he a bust? But he has really improved, most improved player, most valuable player last night on the team. The second half, he just showed out. He lit the place up, and Beard gave it to him, man. It's senior night. Senior night is special. I remember my senior night. It's something that you kind of look back on your career, just kind of like Brakefield did, Murray on all those 9 seniors they have. Brakefield looked back and said, hey, I'm gonna show up. The first half, I told my wife, I said, man, Brakefield hadn't showed up yet. I hope he does something the second half. And wow, he was tremendous, great to watch, encouraging, just so proud for him.
Yeah, it was something to see. And you could see the moment that it happened. About the 8-minute mark in the second half, Beard just decided, I'm going to go small. I realized that Tennessee has really tall players and they can hit you with 7-footers and 6'10" players on the front line. I'm going to go small and I'm going to play Jaemyn Brakefield at the 5. And whenever he did that, Tennessee, the way they play defense, they put the 7-footer out on Jaemyn Brakefield. And Ole Miss for 4 or 5 minutes straight just said, hey, we're going to play isolation football. And by the time Rick Barnes made an adjustment on that, Jaemyn Brakefield was already oozing with confidence, and it didn't matter who was going to guard him at that point.
Yeah, they kept talking about how great Tennessee's defense was, and Jaemyn, he didn't care. He was on a mission, and he carried it through. They asked him at the pressure to end the game, who wrote that script? You know, how did that work? You and Beard, whatever. He said God wrote that script. Very good statement by a young man that I know they did an article on him. I think it's on CBS, a great article about him and his using NIL money for good things, family things. So it was good to see for a young man that's really trying to do right. Yes, they had the taller fella on him, but he couldn't handle him. He juked him and did do one of those mini shot fakes that he does, and made some great moves. Got fouled several times. Hey, that's better than a 3-point outside shot. He'd go in there and get the 3-pointer, and he was relentless. They put a Meshack over. They put him on him. They said, okay, this will be different. He's supposed to be one of the best defensive players in the nation. Jaemyn just wore him out, just one after another. All the other 4 teammates, they just cleared the floor and said, here you are, senior, do it tonight. And he did. He followed through. So proud of him. So got chill bumps just watching him, how great he played.
I think there were 3 plays in this game that were the game-winning plays, and all of them were made by Jaemyn Brakefield. Tennessee had hit a 3-point shot. Next possession, Jaemyn Brakefield got an and 1, 3-point play, old-fashioned. Tennessee hit another 3-point shot and looked like they were getting ready to get some momentum. Jaemyn Brakefield again had an and 1. And the last one was absolutely amazing because I do think in this game that Chris Beard kind of outcoached Rick Barnes and kind of worked him a little bit. And for the second game in a row, Ole Miss called the perfect inbounds play at the perfect time. Ole Miss had 1 second on the shot clock, and Chris Beard worked to get a wide open layup by Jaemyn Brakefield. And whenever you do that, I was like, okay, Ole Miss is winning this game.
Yeah, I was so proud to say that. It was a good play. You know, like you said, just had just a second to get it in, and it was a big play. Great pass by Padula, be honest. He made a great pass. He kind of faked it off, and no one knew it was coming. It was the big guy there inside for Tennessee, and he didn't see it coming. Brakefield sets a screen and then kind of rolls a little bit right to the basket. And when he gets the ball inside within a few feet, it's hard to stop. Like I noticed how no one had any chance. He's so quick with the ball. Reminds me of John Stroud back in the day. He could really get up with the ball really quick. He can make the shots. And a lot of people like me, real slow getting the ball up. Sometimes you get it blocked. But Brakefield gets it up, gets it to the rim, gets it to the backboard, and it goes in on a regular basis. And he usually gets fouled, like you said.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. When we come back, we're going to talk to Tim Thomas about Ole Miss winning the rebounding battle. That's a pretty cool thing. But I do want to let you know right now, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on that action than with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on the fourth quarter, if a comeback is coming, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking forward to a bigger payout, you can even combine those bets into a same-game parlay. You know, Ole Miss is probably going to be an underdog somewhere around 7.5 to 12.5, somewhere in that ballpark. But if you have a hunch on this game, you can hit them up. Whether I'm backing my team for a late game rally or picking a clutch player to hit a 3, I never feel like I miss my chance. The app is so easy to use. And when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's go back to Tim Thomas. And Tim, we mentioned this earlier. It's just so weird because Tennessee's a legit good rebounding team. They do a good job defensively. They do good jobs on the board. they do everything well except scoring and volume. That's one of the reasons the Alabama game's always interesting when they play Tennessee, because of the contrasting styles. So I was of the game. It's like, do not get blown out in the rebounding battle in this game. Keep it within 10 rebounds. And I'll be switched if Ole Miss didn't come out there and just take advantage and win the rebounding battle and win the game on an offensive rebound, essentially, from Jaemyn Brakefield. That right there, even though Ole Miss had a win against a top 5 opponent, 2 top 5 wins in the same year for the first time in school history, I'm most impressed with the rebounding, I think.
Yeah, it was really good to see. I think Barnes said it best. Ole Miss just wanted it more, and rebounding, that's so a key of rebounding. Beard went small, and he had Brakefield was the center, and a lot of the other guys, 6'5", 6'6", and the 2 guards. So it's a want-to type thing. It's a go get the ball. It's blocking out, getting you space, and go and get the ball. And they want it really bad. I could tell the seniors, especially on the senior night. They all have roles to play. Brakefield does his thing. Morrell came through, made a few plays, and Dia was good. Even Brown Jones came in, had a good minutes, and had a couple shots inside. Hit his free throws, which was a blessing to us that he could hit some free throws. It was a good game.
Brown Jones might have had his best game at Ole Miss, and he only scored like 5 points, but he ended up with like 2 assists and 3 rebounds and 2 blocks, and he filled up the stat card in the moments that he was in the game.
46 points in the game, in the paint. 46 points. We've talked about this. We're not a great 3-point shooting team at times, and you got to go to paint. Of course, Brakefield was the key to that in the second half. But the other guys too, Brown Jones and Dia, that's what Beard's always wanted. He loves to shoot some threes, and he don't mind it, but he wants you to go in there and get some fouls, get the shot up, and do it in the paint. That was the key. The rebounding was definitely the key. If we win the rebounding total, I know we're going to win. I think we had like 15 offensive rebounds and 5 turnovers. Man, that's great too. Against a defensive team like this, 5 turnovers you never heard of. So I'm really proud of these guys. Really proud. What's going to happen with Florida this Saturday? I don't know. They're really, really good, but like Beard said, anything can happen in March.
Yeah. It's a bad matchup. It really is a bad matchup because they have length down low, and Condon, their big man, is a legit scorer. And I'm trying to figure out who's going to get matched up with him and who's going to be able to handle that. I guess the person that would be most likely to be able to handle it would be Malik Dia, but that involves Malik Dia in this game deciding, okay, this game's going to be about the work. My stat line might be 5 points for the game, but there's a very important role that I'm going to have to fill.
Yeah, Bears, him and Mark Adams, they're going to have to come up with some defensive schemes here that they never had before. Florida's really good. I think they'll end up being number 1 seed in the whole nation for this upcoming NCAA tournament. They're really good. And that guard, Walter Clayton, wow, he's super good. And they got a couple other shooters outside. And Condon, he showed out the other night against Alabama, just really shut them down in Tuscaloosa. That's so hard to do. Of course, Ole Miss did it, one of our 6 quad 1 wins. It's so good to see. But, hey, it's a free shot. We'll go down to Gainesville and see what we're made out of.
Yeah, Ole Miss has as many quad 1 wins as Duke right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting thing. They got twice as many quad 1 wins as St. John's. So that kind of lets you know exactly how good the SEC is whenever the number 8 net ranked team in the SEC has as many quad 1 wins as the number 2 team in the country and more than like the number 11 team in the country.
I think we'll go down to maybe 7th, maybe 6th even. If we could show up, have a good game against Florida, happen to beat them, or just play them well, I think we could drop down another seed. That would be good. Every seed we can drop down. You put a poll out of the day, hey, 5, that's the best you want. You want the best you can. I hope to not have to play, like you said, the number 1 team the next game if you happen to win the first one. But Beard has he's really good at these first round games. He's got things that these guys had never seen before and that they have never practiced against. It's no middle. We've had issues with the no middle couple of teams already figured out how to break it, but we're getting better at that. He's changed the defense around. He's putting a different little scheme here and there, some matchup zones. He's playing little different things. He's getting people to cover the corner, and he's getting people to help. And a lot of times in down low, if Medulla's or Murray's on the big guy, they'll have a guy come over and either switch with them real quick or they'll help out on the backside. So they're doing a few things to help with the weaknesses of this middle defense. And I think this first round game, ever who it is, we'll do well.
Yeah, and actually, we'll talk about that in just a second. When we come back, we are going to talk to Tim about the NCAA tournament and the differences between the seeds and that intricate conversation that needs to be had. So stick around for that. But first, I do want to let you know the Armada Team of the Week is brought to you by our friends at Nissan and the new 2025 Nissan Armada. Each week, our Locked On College basketball experts are picking one team that stands apart. From top-seeded stars to the unexpected upsets, these guys showcase strength and sheer power needed to push their team forward. This week's Armada clear-cut Team of the Week are the Houston Cougars. Since joining the Big 12 last season, the Cougars have gone a combined 33-4 in conference games, winning the regular season title by multiple games both years. There's no team in college basketball that more capably embodies the rugged Armada than Kelvin Sampson's squad, Houston. Houston's tenacious defense leads the nation in fewest points allowed per game for the second straight season. When it comes to the Nissan Armada, they say go forth and conquer. That's exactly what the Houston Cougars have done here. It's clear that our Team of the Week is out here ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can in an all-new Nissan Armada or any of Nissan's outstanding vehicles. Take the Nissan Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. All right, so we're going to be talking tournament time because we are officially in March, and it's pretty cool that Amazon and Locked On, they're having a partnership that's going to go on. They're going to have a bracket breakdown show that's going to be aired on the Amazon Prime TV channels app. To where you do that, you can just go to Alexa and say, open bracket breakdown, and they'll go straight to all of that. So that is pretty cool. As Ole Miss is relevant, I will be on there, and you will be able to see stuff on my account. So if I'm on there, they're going to put it on there as well. So check that out during the tournament. The partnership has a chance to be really cool and lead to something really special. So I encourage everybody to watch the Amazon products, and they keep doing it because it's just another avenue to get interesting comment. Anyway, Tim, you mentioned it before we went to break about avoiding the number one seed, because that's exactly what this NCAA tournament is going to be about as it sits right now, is avoiding the number one seed as long as you can. Where Ole Miss sits on the seed line at the moment, they're probably going to go in as a 6 or a 7 seed, which means you avoid them in the second round. You're going to avoid a number one seed in the second round. So the Sweet 16 is probably the first time that you see that. Talk about it. What was Kansas when you played them?
I'm not sure. You're talking about what seed?
Yeah, what seed were they?
They probably were number one, number two. I'm not sure, and that's been 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It was good, though. It was, when you win the SEC tournament and you're not even supposed to be there, it was just a great thing for us just to get to go. A little bit different. Ole Miss has earned it. Ole Miss has earned their seed. The game last night, the game that gets Alabama at Louisville, at Alabama, at Arkansas,
BYU.
we won these games. They've earned this seed. So 7-6, whatever it may be, you still got to play them all, right? But it would help to have a better landing and different seating. So that's what the seating's all about. But whoever who it is, I have faith in Beard and Mark Adams in our group. Or some of those plays they put at the end, those that like that out of bounds play, that stuff like that don't happen. This is all playing. All these shots, all of that, they call these plays. This is not throw the ball and set back picks and pick across. This is playing. This is all playing by Beard.
Yeah, it's amazing because you can see the genius of Chris Beard in basketball occasionally. When he just does something, he's like, whoa, wait, you could do that? I didn't even think that was a possibility. Like the Jaemyn Brakefield layup that he got. Everybody that was watching that game assumed that Ole Miss was going to throw it up and try and do the tip-in thing real quick. But it wasn't that. They literally tried to do exactly what the defense is trying to prevent. They walled it off. They found it. Jaemyn Brakefield, who is ambidextrous, he plays with his right hand, but he shoots threes with his left, which means he can basically do a hook shot from everywhere, which means he can wall off a 7-footer that's protecting the rim. And then it was a nice, easy bank in a second. And if Ole Miss can do stuff like that, they have a chance not just to make noise, but make kind of real noise.
Let me tell a quick story if you let me. It was in the pressure last night. I hadn't heard about it. Morrell and Brakefield, two seniors, they had a verbal confrontation in practice on Tuesday. And it wasn't nice the way I understand it. And that's the difference in the game against Tennessee. They cleared the air. That's my opinion. I've been in a few of those in some of our teams in the past, and they love each other, but they had a little fight, a little verbal fight, and they cleared the air. They told each other about this and that, and all the other team, all the members came in and cleared the air. They told each other where we were at, where we were going. Are we going to walk the walk? What are we doing, guys? We playing around this game, that game. We did pretty good against Oklahoma. What are we going to do? Tennessee's coming in, great chance to do so well. What do you guys want? We're seniors, man. It's our last go. We're senior night. What are we going to do? They cleared the air. I've said that a few times. It is so important going forward, and I think that's the reason they won last night. They came together as a team in March, and Beard said it was emotional to him to see this and hear this. One of the best 10 moments he's ever had in the practice when they got mad at each other. And they told each other what they really felt down deep. They told each other where they were at in their life, where were they at in their family life, what was their plans for the future, pros, playing in Europe, whatever. They told each other, and they cleared it up, and then they came together as a team. And you could tell last night at the press conference, Morrell and Brakefield was so glad that happened. They were happy. They were loving on each other and caring for each other. And you could tell that was, in my opinion, the big part of the game and how they hung in there towards the end.
Yeah, and Rick Barnes, the coach of Tennessee, just flat out said, Ole Miss wanted it more. It looked like that. You saw Ole Miss jerseys on the ground diving for the ball all the time. It was old style basketball that you don't really see anymore. It's like we're going to do all of the down and dirty stuff to win a basketball game because we might not have the most talented player on the court, but we are certainly going to outwork you.
Yeah, after that confrontation, after that little chat they had with all it, my opinion, I figure Beard just kind of walked off and let them do it. I don't know what the play was, I don't know what was going on at practice. I don't know if it was in the locker room, but they had this talk that needed to happen. You could see with Brown Jones, he hadn't been feeling well, hadn't been doing well. Probably his mind was in a different place. Hey, he didn't even hesitate. He went for that ball. So their minds in the right. Beard loved this, and we were talking, man. Why don't we keep the intensity the whole game? Why is it 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there? Because their heart wasn't in it. Their heart's in it now. We'll see what happens with Florida. I think we'll show up and have a good game. May not win it. I think we'll do well, and then we'll get ready for the SEC tournament, and who knows what might happen.
Yeah, it's a situation to where March is all of a sudden it's a very fun prospect. When 3 weeks ago it was like, okay, let's go to the first round. It's nice to be here. Now all of a sudden, well, let's go there and make noise, because if you got wins against 2 top 5 opponents, you can make noise.
It was good to see Beard got up on a chair. You may have seen it. He got up on a chair. And people were, even the announcer said, what is he doing? What is he? Is he looking for somebody? He was just enjoying the moment, smelling the roses, whatever. And he found his team. He found his team. He found them out there in the middle, jumping up and down with all the fans, and he went and joined them. He was right in the middle. I saw him hugging Brakefield right in the middle of all that big crowd of fans. Guys, Beard ain't going anywhere. He's staying at Ole Miss, the loveliest village in the world.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Tim Thomas, former Ole Miss basketball player and somebody that had to enjoy Ole Miss out-rebounding the top 5 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Ole Miss got their second top 5 victory in the AP this season. It's just a very, very good night. And Ole Miss has one more regular season game tomorrow against the Florida Gators, and then it's tournament basketball, Tim. What do you got planned this weekend, buddy?
I'm going to just check out that Florida game. I hope everybody else has joined the bandwagon. We won the SEC tournament back in '81. I'll bring my ring next time if I can. If I remember, I got a ring. That's what they'll be playing for, a big, huge ring. I enjoyed getting that. That was fun. I still got it, and don't get it out very much because my grandkids, I hope they don't pick it up and hide it or something. So I enjoyed that. That was a great win for us. Probably the best game, athletic feat that I've been involved in. But let's cheer on the Rebels and let's go get some Gators.
All right, buddy. Hotty toddy, man.
Hotty toddy.
Thank you.